Hi everyone, welcome back to the Toffee Blues.
You're cutting out a little bit here. Not sure if it's me.
Am I coming out all right on your end? Right, can you hear me, James? You see what the problem is. You hear me, James?
Yeah, can hear you now, yeah.
All right, welcome back to the Toffee Blues, everyone. Sorry to I completely forgot to send the links out, so we're sorted now. We've got Paul joining us in a moment as well. Hello, we've got quite a few viewers in already on the stream. Thanks for joining, guys. We've got Inky Squid, we've got Semi Charm Life. Jake Abbott says 2-1. Erwin Koeman says 3-1. I'd definitely take a 3-1 today, James. Disma Hills says, hey up, fellas, how are we? I'm fine, mate. Thank you for joining the stream. How are you? And how are you, James?
Have I what?
How are you? You're all right?
Right. Yeah, it's been nice. Been a nice week. Getting back something a little bit different this week. Having family around and that, so it's been nice this week. Been nice not having to worry about the footy as well, ruining it. So no, it's been good this week.
Yeah, I hope all of you can hear us. We're having audio issues. We were having them just then as well. Hopefully it sorts itself out in a minute. It should do. We should be okay. Let me just try one thing and I'll be back in a second, James. Just give us 1 sec, mate. Right, I think we're all right. I think we're a bit better now. Sorry about that, guys. James, you can hear me now, all right, can't you?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yeah.
Just changing some of my settings around. That I had a problem in the last stream with it as well. Inky Squid says Steve's got a Strat style guitar on the wall today. I have. That's me main one at the moment. I'm actually practicing later on as well. I'm gonna miss most of the match, but yeah, thank you for the observation. Steve Thomas says 4-2 to Everton. Hope Gabamon gets some game time. That's definitely going to be a talking point in the stream, James. Jean-Philippe Gabamon he's arrived with the team. There's pictures of him arriving and everything with his Everton face mask on. The Enigma is finally back and he might be playing today. I'll wait for the team news, which is out now, and I'll read it out to you, James, and we'll see if he's in the squad. I hope so. He is. He's on the bench today, James. The team is Olsen in goal, who we're going to be talking about in a moment as well. Seamus Coleman's captain in the team. Luca Dean at left back. Keane and Mina and Holgate in defence. Davis, Gomez, James Rodriguez in midfield with Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin up front. Quite a good team, that.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at it now. I'm obviously delighted to see that obviously James is back, which is a big plus. Yes. I'm not sure what the setup's going to be there with the three centre halves, Dean and Coleman in the team. I'm not too sure what the other setup's going to be, but I'm glad to see James back. Obviously, the front two. Noah Land's obviously interesting. He's not even made the bench. I think good to see Gabamon obviously on the bench as well. But yeah, it looks like a relatively strong team, which is nice for a change. Bench is still a bit ropey, but I'm fairly pleased, I'd say.
It's interesting because we've actually got quite a strong bench today, all things considered. I'll put the team scrolling along the bottom there. Hopefully, I haven't made any typos or anything. Yeah, it's an interesting one because Ben Godfrey's on the bench as well. Two goalkeepers, of course. It's just part and parcel at the moment, isn't it? Sigurdsson, King, and Kunku, Godfrey, Gabam, and Broadhead, and John on the bench. It's quite interesting, that isn't it? It's a different team. Kieran Jones thinks. Sorry, let me just say. He says it looks like Dean on the left wing, but to me it doesn't. I think it's more of a five at the back because I don't see. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that because usually Godfrey would be in there playing. We've got Paul joining us as well. Paul, have you had a chance to look at the teammate?
Yeah.
Just briefly then, I could see we've gone with the three centre-backs, haven't we? And Olsen's back in goal. Gabaman's got a space on the bench. Godfrey's come out, which I'm surprised about. I'm just trying to work out what the actual setup is. Is it three centre-backs with wing backs, Dean and Coleman playing sort of hugging the lines, or are we going just a flat five, or it's just a wee bit of a weird setup, isn't it?
I think from what I can see, I'm thinking it's probably they're going to try and quite an attack, and it looks a little bit to the Anfield setup with Coleman and Dean, but then again, there's no Ben Godfrey, which is weird. Davis and Gomez. Davis is probably good to sit quite deep, isn't he? And then them three up front, I'm really happy with. What do you think, James? What are you thinking for the what sort of setup? Because that is a tough one. We know Carlo he's a bit of a tinkerer, isn't he? He likes to change it. What are you thinking about that? Because he's just fell out the stream. He'll be back in a moment, guys. Don't worry. Yeah, Paul. I don't know what's going to happen with that because as someone said before, they think it's Dean on the wing, but I don't think it could be because there's obviously no Ben Godfrey in there to fit in at left back.
Yeah, no Alan either.
No,
not even on the bench.
No.
So I can only imagine he's picked up some sort of knock. Then hopefully it's not a bad one. But yeah, looking at that, Gomez and Davis, that never inspires confidence. Those two in the middle. But to be fair, Davis has looked better the last couple of months. But whenever those two have played together in the middle previously, it's not worked out well, has it at all? Holgate's been poor the last few months, but he always tends to play well when he's put in the back three. Yeah, as you were saying there, are Dean and Coleman going to play as full-on wingers, are they? If so,
looks like Coleman, that way.
Yeah, that. Can Coleman even do that job anymore? At least offensively, I know he can. In the derby, he did really well. Mark and Mane out the game when he played as like a full-on wing back, but is he going to be able to get forward and contribute to getting the ball in the box? You don't know. What about the three? Is it like Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin as a two, supported by Rodriguez behind, or are Rodriguez and Richarlison going to be wide, supporting Calvert-Lewin through the middle? Or
I think it's going to be like a 5-2-1-2 with Davis and Gomez, with sort of Rodriguez just hanging about in that little pocket behind the two at the front. But it could be, like you said there, it could be maybe Richarlison on the left and Rodriguez on the right.
Maybe. It's a bit of a bizarre team. I know we used to, as you said, Ancelotti switching things up, and sometimes it looks like on paper maybe he's over 40, but a lot of time it turns out he's got it just right. So hopefully that's the case here. But looking at that team, the 11 he's put out, it is hard to work out who's exactly going to be doing what job in there, isn't it?
Yeah. A couple of people think it might be Holgate in midfield.
Maybe. When was the last time we saw Holgate play in midfield?
It was last season. Yeah, it was about this time last season, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think we've seen it this season. I know people have called for it, but I don't think Godfrey or Holgate have been played as a midfielder, really. Ancelotti just hasn't seemed to want to try it, but looks like maybe this is the day that he actually decides to give it a go, and it isn't five at the back at all. But I'm not sure. If so, Holgate's going to be playing the deep role, isn't he, with Davis and Gomez in front of him, which goes back to what I said before. Whenever Davis and Gomez have played as sort of number 8 together, just two flat centre mids. Whenever we tried that last season, it was just a disaster, wasn't it? They had no strength in there. Decore's obviously injured. Alan's not there. Gabamon, you don't know if he's going to come on and play any part at all. It's just...
Yeah. Well, at least it's not Sigurdsson in front of them. At least it's Rodriguez. Because I know if it was a midfield today, Rodriguez, Sigurdsson, Gomez and Davis, then it would be like, you know, what we used to. But with them three, it's never ends well. But hopefully hopefully it works. I think it should. It's different. Like it's a strange team, isn't it? It's a little bit different to what we're used to. No Ben Godfrey's massive, but I think a couple of people in the chat think that that's because he picked up a knock in England in midweek, because he was obviously out with Davis, but Davis was out as well, wasn't he, with the late fitness test? So I'm hoping he's all right. James is back now. I'll read out a couple of the chat. See what you guys think about it. Ingy Squid says no Virginia. Yeah, he's on the bench. We're going to talk about it straight after this. Really, it is on the agenda for today. Kieran Jones said looks like Dean left wing. I don't know. I don't think that's. I think he's going to play as a left back. Stephen Thomas says better bench than last time. Yeah, Paul, it's something that we're not used to, but we have got a bit more of a bench today. Sigurdsson, King, Gabamon's on the bench. Let me try and get in shot. Sigurdsson, King, Gabamon, all on the bench. I'm trying to think who the other one was. But it's not as bad a bench as what we used to. There's still two goalkeepers. Let's see what other people say. Noah Wobie as well. That's an interesting one because he has not got COVID, according to Nigeria, Paul. So what do you think's happened with that? And James has gone again. We'll get him back in a moment, guys. We'll get it sorted. Noah Wobie again. Noah Wobie, that's interesting. I don't know if he was on the bench. I don't think he was. No, he's not. Because obviously there was the debacle with his fake COVID test, wasn't there?
Yeah, without him and Bernard on the bench, there's pretty much no width there at all. So we can't throw in any wide players if whatever this formation isn't working. We've only really got Sigurdsson and Josh King to throw on if we need to change it up, because Godfrey's not going to change anything offensively. And Gabamon, you can't put any pressure on his shoulders. It'd be a bonus if he even gets on the pitch at all. So it's weird with Iwobi. You'd have to, maybe he's come back from Nigeria and they just don't think he's fit enough because it's a long flight, isn't it? And you want to give him maybe it's just a case of he just needs another day before he's fully fit again. Or maybe he's picked up a knock that we haven't heard about. I don't think it's anything to do with that COVID situation, because as you said, that kind of got cleared up, didn't it? And it turned out there was nothing wrong with him in that regard. So, maybe it's a case of he tried him in his number 10 position against Burnley. He didn't deliver, and Ancelotti doesn't want to give him a chance. I don't think so.
Him out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you've got it. It's a possibility. That's why I bring it up, because you can't discount that. But I don't think Ancelotti's that type of vindictive type person. You'd expect that from maybe Koeman, wouldn't you? If he played a player in a position, he let him down, and then he decides, you know what, forget you. Then I'm not going to use you in future. So I'm pretty sure that Iwobi's absence today is just because he's picked up a knock like Alan.
Yeah,
but it'd be interesting to see what Iwobi does between now and the end of the season, though, because I wouldn't be shocked if Iwobi was going in the summer.
No. Inky Squid there says he got a groin injury in his last game with Nigeria, which is strange because he wasn't meant to be playing anyway, was he? So, James Brinkley, thanks for joining the stream again, mate. Hope you had a nice Easter. He says, I think with no wide players, we're going to be relying on Coleman and Dean to provide that with, I think, a back three when attacking and a back five when under pressure. This is what I said, like the Derby way, when we played like that, and that worked out really well. And I don't think we've seen it since that game. So I am interested to see it. I'm all for the Seamus Coleman redemption arc where he comes and proves us both wrong, Paul. But as we said, it's tough because he's looked really out of it. And James has just telling me that his internet's buckled. He is in the chat there. It's trying to work out the team news. His internet's running on a little man in a bicycle. But we'll move on, and hopefully he can get back in at some point. I'll tell you the Crystal Palace team news, Paul, and just to mention as well, guys, they've got the best graphic I've seen in ages. That's amazing, that graphic. the Everton really need to sort theirs out. Guaita, Ward, Kouyaté, Gary Cahill, Van Aanholt, Milivojevic as captain, Riedewald, Etse, Zaha, Ayew, and Benteke. So that's a strong attacking team. That, Paul, there's Etse, Zaha, and Ayew in the team with Benteke up front.
That'll be why Mina's come back in, because Benteke is going to be a handful in the box, isn't he? So Mina's going to be probably tasked with keeping him quiet, whereas you're going to need Michael Keane to marshalling everybody and maybe keeping his eye on Ayew. But Palace are one of those teams who I just never like playing, because you look at them on paper. You look at them on paper and they don't look like much, but they're one of those teams that will turn up and do what Burnley done to us a few weeks ago. They just turned up and they put in a great performance out of the blue, and you think, oh God, like this game's over before we're even reaching half time. We need to win this game, because if we don't win this game, then as far as I'm concerned, the season's just over for us. I know, I don't want to sound doomsdayish. I know if we win our games in hand, we can still get to the top four and we're still very much in the fight for Europe. But if we don't win this game, then I think that will just zap everyone's enthusiasm and make everyone think that, yeah, we are just going to have to limp along to the finish line here.
Yeah, well, there's that 3 points, and I'd seen a tweet today of like the table, and it was like, you just know we could go on a fantastic run from now till the end of the season, but it's probably going to come up to goal difference, and we're going to get absolutely shafted on the goal difference there at the end of the season, because we'll miss out on fourth by +1 or something like that. So let's just hope that's not the case. Let's hope we can rack up these points. And today's one of these games, like you said there, I hate playing these. I absolutely hate playing Palace, even though we've won our last, I think it's 6 games against them or something mad like that, or we're unbeaten or something.
We're unbeaten in the last 12. We've won 6, drew 6.
That's it. We haven't lost since 2014 against Palace, and we lost that game 3-2. We lost twice. We lost the 2 home games in 2014. We lost back-to-back against them. But we've been on a really good run. We played quite well again at Selhurst earlier in the season. It was when Richarlison scored that penalty, wasn't it? So there's space for us to get in behind them. And it's not like we're playing Burnley or Newcastle, a team that's fighting for their life. Well, I wouldn't say Burnley fighting for their life, but they were looking over their shoulders at relegation when a couple of weeks ago when they played us. But now it seems to be between Fulham and Newcastle. But I think, and we're going to mention it later because I've got Palace and all their facts down to talk about in a bit, Paul. But it does fill you with a bit of confidence that they're sort of floating around mid-table. Not too much to play for, but as you said, Palace are one of them teams. They just come out and beat you, don't they? They're weird. And it feels like a game that could either finish 4-0 to us or 2-0 to them or something like that. Everton Zone says, the Everton app says it's 3-4-1-2. That's something, yeah, I think that's what I was predicting there. Inky Squid says, I'd love to see Seamus score, maybe King, too much to ask, maybe. Yeah, I'd like to see King get on and get a goal. It doesn't look like they're going to keep him past the summer. So I'd like to see him get a goal before he goes. If he does go, that's it. Adam P says we have some sort of deal with the devil where we can have Hammers back, but they take Decore and Alan. Would love to see our best 11 one week. Yeah, I don't think we've had it since October, have we, Paul? It's really tough with the injuries and stuff like that.
No, yeah, I'm fed up with that now. Just every game and every new injury, it just seems like we can never get certain people fit, and we can never get certain people fit at the same time. I mean, Alan was gone for a massive chunk of the season when he was probably our most effective player, and then same with Decore. We've lost Decore when he was probably our most important player for the last few weeks lead up to his injury. Rodriguez has been picking up these niggles here and there where he misses 2 or 3 games, then he's back for 2 or 3, and then he's out again. I mean, I know you've got to expect that with Rodriguez because of his injury record, and let's not even mention the likes of Delph and jokers like that. It just, I don't think since October, as you said, we've had a squad that's been more than 75% fit. We've always been missing one or two first teamers and another 1 or 2 players who would be on the bench and you'd bring on to make a difference. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, the only reason I'm saying October, guys, is because I remember we'd gone on that really good run at the start of the season. I think we won our first few or whatever it was. And it came to the derby, and I remember, I think it was James. We weren't sure if he was going to be fit. And then we were all like, oh, let's hope we get our full strength. And I remember the team coming out and going, yeah, that's full strength. So that's what I can remember the full strength team being. And then ever since then, we've just sort of had, if it's Decore out, it's Alan in. Or if it's Alan out, it's Decore in. Or if it's Hammers out, it's someone else. Do you know what I mean? So, or Dean's out or someone like that. So yeah, it's definitely, it's annoying. It's getting really annoying. I'd like to see us. And do you know what I mean? I suppose, the likes of Gabaman coming back, that is good. So yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to see a full strength team at some point, but I don't think we're going to see Decore back before the end of the season. One that I want to get to, I'll have to try and find the poll on Twitter. If you're in the chat, could you post the poll results for the João Virginia poll in the chat? If not, I'll try and find it. But João Virginia versus Robin Olsen, it's fight of the century at the moment. It seems to be everyone on Twitter's I want him and I want him and I want him and all that. It's so João Virginia, Robin Olsen. I think me and you, Paul, are probably both firmly in the Robin Olsen camp. There's a couple of people who are putting themselves saying, I'd rather have João in. I know I've seen a County Road Bobblers tweet. They'd want João in. I just don't understand how you'd go for João over Olsen at this point. And I seen a good tweet that said, if Jordan Pickford's out, surely this is the good opportunity to give our number 2 some minutes. So, yeah, Robin Olsen or João Virginia, basically, Paul.
I was saying loads of nice stuff about Virginia after the City game. How he played really well and how he sort of resurrected his Everton career to an extent, because I think a lot of people had just written him off after that loan at Reading didn't work. But based on what we've seen, people are maybe willing to give him another chance, and I want to see him go out on loan again to get some more experience. But how people want to put him in over Olsen is just beyond me. Robin Olsen's not perfect, but he's still an international level goalkeeper who has gone to World Cups, has played for big clubs. He's played for us, he's played for Roma, he's played in Europe before. João Virginia, I think until Burnley, I'd never played a senior first team game. At least definitely not in the Premier League. I think he played 1 or 2 games for Reading.
Yeah, it was his debut, wasn't it?
Yeah, fair play to him. He held his own. But how can people be seriously wanting him to be the long-term number 2 based on that? On man alone, it's ridiculous. Just because he's come in and he's exceeded expectations doesn't mean that he's suddenly this great goalkeeper who's better than the number 2 we've seen. We know what we're going to get with Robin Olsen. We're going to get a solid goalkeeper who maybe has the odd wobbler here and there, but over the course of 5 games is probably going to play well in at least 3 of them, or competent in at least 3 of them. So yeah. Robin Olsen's a perfect number 2, and when he's fit again, get him straight back in, because if you put Virginia back in the firing line and it goes wrong for him, then you're just basically back to square one, Virginia, where everyone's calling him crap again.
Yeah,
so Virginia shouldn't be anywhere near the first team unless it's an absolute needs must.
Yeah, I'm the same, mate. If you if guys just get your thoughts in the chat, we'll read them out and we'll see what all of you think, because it has been split in opinion. As our producer John there has put in, we did a Twitter poll today or yesterday, I think it was, or it might have been today. 2,400 can't speak. 2,435 votes. So thank you all if you did get involved with that. 31.5% of people chose Virginia and 68.5% of people chose Olsen. That's unbelievable that Virginia's were that high. Like, don't get me wrong, this is not a slight on João Virginia at all. I think he played marvelously against City, and I think he was a bit unlucky with that first Gundogan goal. But I just don't see how you can go for. I don't see how you can go for Virginia, who's played 2 games, only won 90 minutes, hasn't he, for Everton in the league, and go over an international goalkeeper who some people aren't still 100% convinced on. But I wouldn't say I'm 100% convinced on him, but I am convinced that he's good enough to play for Everton. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you look at a player, don't you, Paul, when they come in and you just go, this lad is completely out of his depth. Like you look at a player like Klaassen who comes in and plays a handful of games and you look at them completely out of their depth. Sandro, players like that. But when Olsen come in, he's been steady, in my opinion. I mean, there was the game against United where he maybe could have done a little bit better for the Scott McTominay goal. But I just think it's a silly one to say that. I think you're asking for it then, and as you said there, Paul, you made a really good point that it's like if you put him in and something goes wrong, he's immediately back in the firing line. It's tough. You can't really win with it. Food High says, I want Virginia because I think it would be more entertaining and I want to see how good he would be in the future. But if we're being realistic, Olsen should be starting. Yeah, but if being entertaining means we're going to continue, no. If being entertaining, I'd rather 1-0 and win 5-4, mate. So
I want to win games, mate. I don't want to be entertaining. Do you know what I mean? When you say entertaining, you want to be biting your fingernails on the edge of your seat thinking, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Are we going to get over it? No, thank you, mate. I don't want any of that. And
if by that you mean I want to see a young player coming through and stuff like that, and I want him to be something like that, do you know what I mean? Then I can see a little bit where you're coming from. But for me, it's just from now until the end of the season, we've got a really good opportunity here to get into Europe. Let's just go with the best keeper we've got at the moment, and that's Robin Olsen. James is back again. So yeah, it's good to see that it sorted itself out, mate. And we're talking about Joe Virginia and Robin Olsen because we did the poll on our Twitter, and 68% of people wanted Olsen to start, and 31% of people wanted Virginia to start. So I just want to know where you stand on it, because me and Paul are both firmly in the Robin Olsen camp.
Yeah, I think it was a lot higher when I voted as well. I'm pretty sure Olsen was in the 90s when I clicked in. But yeah, firmly Robin Olsen. For me today, only choice you could have made. I thought Virginia did fine against City. I think he made one really good save for somebody that had just come in. But yeah, you've got to go with the more experienced, the better goalkeeper. It was a complete dead rubber, and we were 10th, 11th in the table, and maybe lashed the young lad in. But no, I think whilst we're still fully needing results, you've got to go with your best players. So yeah, I'd 100% stick with Robin Olsen until Pickford's back.
I don't think that, and like a couple of people are saying like, oh, but you know, there's other keepers who've come in off bad loans and not done it. But I don't think it's a case of him having to prove himself. If Robin Olsen wasn't fit, I wouldn't have a problem with us playing Virginia, to be honest. You know, if Olsen was still out or with an injury, same as he was against City, and it was, okay, Virginia has to play, I'm not going to be shaking and going, oh, I think it's going to be tough now because he's in goal. I thought he was really good, and I'm hoping that, you know, he goes on and has a good career for Everton. But you know, if he's available, then if Olsen's available, it's as simple as he's the understudy at the moment, and that's how it works. He might get a couple of minutes here and there. He might be on the bench and stuff like that, and he will get experience. And he probably does need a couple more big loans, maybe to another championship team, maybe to, you know, if a Premier League team if a team ever gets promoted and needs a goalkeeper, a young goalkeeper, I can see him going to somewhere like that on loan, and I think he does have a good future. But for me, it's got to be Olsen at this point in time. It definitely has to be. Adam P says also, I would think people are saying Virginia, as he will be here next season, and for the future, as Olsen will be returning back to Roma. Good point, but thinking about the here and now, are we going to not play? We can't not play Olsen because he might not be here next season. I think it's got to be. Yeah, I think he will as well.
Olsen will be here, I think. Olsen will be here, I think. If it had been decided behind the scenes that Olsen wasn't staying, if all these stories about how he's changed his mind and doesn't want to be here because of the robbery, then I think we would be seeing Virginia start. I think if he'd have been into Carlo Ancelotti or someone and said, no, in May, I'm definitely going back to Italy, I'm not staying here, then I don't think he'd play for the rest of the season. I think that the fact that he is back in the team shows that they are happy to keep him around and he's happy to stay around. And unless something stupid happens, like Romex want to haggle over money or he gets another better offer, I'm quite sure Robert Olsen will be here as our number 2 next season.
Yeah, I think the same. Yeah. Just thinking, the Inky Squid, they're saying Virginia needs to play games against teams in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, or against teams like Sheffield United and Newcastle, but I don't say so. I think any league game, it's going to either have to be Pickford or Olsen. And then Wormy Spoons has gone or against Palace. But if you can imagine, if I was an everyone in the chat is absolutely smashing Christian Benteke, saying he's awful and he can't hit a barn door and that. But if you imagine a young lad who's coming in for only his second start for Everton, his first league start, if you can imagine a ball goes in the area and Benteke's jumping up for it, Olsen's probably going to beat him to it, whereas Virginia might probably get knocked over or something like that, or something will go wrong. And it's not that he's a bad player; he just does need another loan, in my opinion. As Erwin Koeman there says, Virginia needs a loan next season. He needs a season playing competitive football. What do you think for the future of him? Does he need another loan? Should he be in the team next season? Where should he be, basically?
Yeah, I think he's got to go on loan. I think you talk about players coming in from the academy, and I know he's not like a local lad or whatever, but he's been in our academy for 2 seasons or so now. It's so hard to bring a goalkeeper through, because unless they are really, really good, and they are good enough to go straight into the first team. We've seen a couple of them in the Premier League, but look at someone like Dean Henderson. He was great at Shrewsbury, and then he had 2 really good seasons at Sheffield United. And now he's starting to look like he's going to probably be United's starting goalie next season. Virginia needs to go and have a good loan spell, because he was at Reading and it was an absolute nightmare, wasn't it? And he ended up coming back. He wasn't ready, and I think that could well have put him off for a little bit now. But now that he's had a taste of first team football, I just think he's got to go somewhere else. Doesn't even have to be in the Championship. If he goes to League One, to a decent side, like as I said with Dean Henderson, I think they got to the playoffs, Shrewsbury, that season when he was there. So if he has a season like that where he's in a team who are doing well and he's keeping clean sheets, playing men's football, that's just what he needs right now. I think we would have seen Calvert-Lewin and Tom Davis in the team a bit quicker and a bit better if they'd had a period of time out on loan. So I think it's what Virginia needs next season. If he doesn't, then he's never going to be our starting goalie for me, because I just think he needs first team football for a whole season, really.
Yeah, you think about teams like, maybe, I know obviously he was at Reading, but you think about the likes of maybe like a Brentford or something like that, someone who's going to be competing at the top of the Championship, and maybe the chance for them to go on and win a trophy, win the Championship, which obviously is the major trophy. But for a young person, a young footballer, to do that, be part of a team that gets promoted, that's a massive. You can imagine that being a massive thing for someone. And like, imagine you're a lad who's come through at Everton and you end up he came through Arsenal, didn't he? But you come through at Everton's academy or whatever, and you end up at a team like that, and you go 46 games and you've beaten lots of teams, and you end up in the playoffs, or you finish in the top 2, you're lifting a trophy at the end of the season, you're getting really good bond with all your teammates. That can only be good for the future of a footballer, which is, I think it just really benefits him. And I think, like, he doesn't have to make it at Everton in the next season or the next 2 seasons. He's a young player. Not only that, he's a young goalkeeper, and goalkeepers obviously historically go on a lot longer than outfield players. So he's got a lot of time left in his career. In my opinion, we should not be rushing him. Let's just go, maybe throw him out on loan, maybe get him to, as I said, a team fighting for the top of the Championship to get in the league. If he's playing 46 games or 40-odd games as a goalkeeper in a Championship side, and that team then gets promoted to the Premier League, similar to Dean Henderson, that can only be good, because then he's got the confidence of, okay, I'm good enough now to be a consistent Premier League goalkeeper. I should always be playing. And that's obviously what they've done with Henderson, and that's what they plan for him. Obviously, he's a different thing altogether, isn't he? Everyone's got their opinion on it. But someone there mentioned Emi Martinez, who obviously went from Arsenal to Villa. Adam P says you could take the Emi Martinez situation at Arsenal and compare how he had come in after having horrific loan spells, how good he was. And then John's replied, true, I get your point, but Emi Martinez is 28 and played a lot more first team games. Virginia's played less than 10 first team games altogether. So yeah, he obviously went out to Reading, and when a loan can make or break, yeah, I wouldn't say it broke him, but it wasn't good. He needs to go out and be a first team player, in my opinion, for him to go out and really do anything. And you need experience in football, and that needing experience doesn't necessarily mean playing 10 games. It means having experiences, getting your last minute winners, getting to cup semi-finals, going through, being part of a giant killing team or something like that. All of these accumulate to being being like a better player overall. A couple of people asking about Alan. Any of you lads know what's happened to Alan and why he might not be there today?
No, I've not seen anything. I was looking on Twitter. It seems Sam Carroll posted something about him, but I don't think he seemed to know either, so I'm not sure, to be honest.
No, any idea, Paul?
No, Carlo didn't mention him in the press conference, did he? So you'd have to think it's just a very late thing that he's picked up. Whether he's ill, whether he's just picked up a little knock, I don't know. But hopefully it's just nothing serious, and this will be the only game we have to do without him for. But I think we'll have to wait until after the game when Carlo's asked directly to find out what's wrong with him.
Inky Squid, I don't know what happened. He had a knock in training. That's what he's saying. So, yeah, if that's true, then that's why he's out. But it was obviously going to be a big miss. Make sure you're leaving a like on the stream as well, guys. Been live for about half an hour, and we're going to keep going. We're going to keep talking. We've got a couple more talking points to go through. Get all your questions in for the three of us in the chat. And obviously, as I said, share it and make sure you're liking the stream. If you're in here and you haven't liked it yet, just press the little thumbs up button underneath the video. Simple as, really easy. Moving on, we'll move away from Joe Virginia and Robin Olsen for a bit because everyone's got their opinion and sometimes it can get a bit heated when everyone's giving their opinions at once. The European run-in, who will finish where? It's a tough one because obviously, Paul, we mentioned there, if we lose this one today, it's pretty much... it's out of our hands. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. But on the same, level, if we win both of them, I think we go fourth, win both of our games in hand. So, Paul, just want to know from you, where do you think your prediction really for how you think it'll finish come between now and the end of May, and we've got a full league table because it's very, very tight. Could go to goal difference, as I said, and our goal difference is horrid. So, just want to know who you think will finish where really.
I think we'll finish 7th and have to make do with that Conference League. I don't see us finishing above Liverpool, sadly. It looks like they've found form again and they're getting players back at just the right time. West Ham, for months I've been telling myself the bottom's going to fall out of West Ham and we'll overhaul them, and they can't keep getting good results, but they do. They haven't fell away at all. I've been expecting it for ages, and they just keep digging out results and proving that Moyes has still got it as a manager. Maybe that will change now that Declan Rice is injured. He's absolutely massive to them. He's basically there to core, isn't he? So maybe that will happen now. Yeah. But I don't put any money on us finishing above West Ham. I think they're just having an absolute whaley of a season. Never finishing above Chelsea, not happening. Chelsea are nailed on for the top 4 now. They've got Tuchel. I know they had that bad results the other day, but they're not going to lose many games between now and the end of the season. They're not going to drop many points, I don't think. I think we can finish above Tottenham. I think Tottenham are just in a weird place, aren't they? They don't know whether to stick or twist under Mourinho. They're out the Europa League.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to win that cup final, but they've still got Harry Kane, they've still got Son, they've still got Ndombele. They've got more match winners in their team than we have, I think. But they just seem to be dropping points that they shouldn't be dropping.
Do you think Mourinho will be there next season? Just curious, because I think he's past the sell-by date, in my opinion.
I think he'll be there to start the season, but he'll be gone before Christmas. He won't be there too long. I think they won't sack him in the summer. I think they'll stick with him. He'll get in the office with Levy, and he'll convince Levy to stick with him for a bit longer. But then, when results don't go their way in October, November time, I think that'll be when he probably decides to pull the trigger.
Maybe when someone else has lost a job, and they have someone else who they can bring in to replace them. James, what do you think? Because between us now, there's Tottenham are there sitting in 5th, but obviously had that bad result of against Newcastle, dropped some points there. Liverpool are there. West Ham, as mentioned, you don't really know. As Paul said, he thought the bottom were going to fall out of them, and I think I did as well. Davy Moyes' knife to gunfights and all that. Obviously, Declan Rice is out now. So what do you think the shake-up's going to be? Because between 5th and 8th, maybe even 9th, you can finish anywhere, really.
Yeah, we did a little podcast over on ours last week about sort of trying to predict each result. Absolutely impossible, as it turns out. Obviously, we did last weekend to kick off, and I think I had City to beat Leicester, and then the other fellow did a podcast with, I think he had Liverpool to beat Arsenal. They're the only two results we got right for the whole weekend, so hasn't started very well. But I think when I did that, I had us coming down as, I think I had us in 5th, because I thought that, I mean, I'm saying as Paul, I've been saying West Ham are going to fall away for about 3 months now, but I think the Declan Rice injury, that's huge. That if you had to pick one player who West Ham wouldn't want to lose, it'd probably be him. So that'd be interesting to see how that impacts them. I think Tottenham are absolutely bush, to be honest with you. I think they are crap. I know we've put in some bad performances against Newcastle, but I think that one on the weekend was possibly the worst I've seen. And kind of depends how hard Liverpool go for trying and obviously win the Champions League. That's what they probably need to do if they want to be in it next season. They probably have to go and win it, because I do think Chelsea are also going to finish 4th. So it's going to be tight. It's going to be hard, and it's just about, who can pick up momentum, who can just get the results when they need them, because really the end of fixtures for the rest of the season are relatively kind for us, and it starts tonight. But we've said that a handful of times this season. Now we've just got to win games like tonight, Brighton away next week, Spurs just before that cup final is a big game for both of us, and I think that's another game we really have to win. West Ham's another huge game. So yeah, I think the only interesting thing is that I think most teams around us play the likes of Fulham, Newcastle, West Brom, and as West Brom showed on the weekend, the teams that are down there can get results this stage of the season. So I think the fact that we're not playing West Brom, Fulham, or Newcastle again, and the likes of Liverpool and Tottenham, etc., are going to face them at some point before now and the end of the season. I think that's quite interesting, because they do pull out results when you're down the bottom. You're going to get some shock results. So I think that's a interesting little sort of minefield, if you like, that other teams could walk into. But yeah, anywhere in the top 6, and I'd be really, really pleased.
Yeah, so would I. It's hard because, as you said there, with our running, just going through the teams that we've played, really, we've still got to play City. We've played United home and away now. We've played Leicester home and away. We've played Chelsea home and away. Tottenham we've still got to play. We've played Liverpool. West Ham. Have we played West Ham home and away?
Got to play West Ham. Got to play West Ham away, and we've got to play Tottenham at home. Yeah. I think they're the only two teams above us who we've still got to play.
And then when you come down the bottom, the only team I think who we need to play down the bottom that might put up a bit of a fight is really Sheffield. Well, Sheffield United aren't really. I think they're obviously down, and Chris Wilde's are going. That's knocked the stuffing right out of them, losing Chris Wilder, because you had the impression that they might still play a little bit for him, but with the new man, the lad coming in, the caretaker, I just don't know if they're going to come to Goodison with any sort of real fight about them. As James mentioned there, don't have to play Big Sam again, which is good. Got that win there at the Hawthorns, which was needed. Fulham, I'm glad we're not playing them, even though they did fall apart at Villa the other day. Newcastle, glad we're not playing them. And Brighton's we only got to go. I think we've got to go to the Amex, haven't we? That might be one where it could go either way, maybe. But I think Brighton will probably stay up. So I think between, obviously, we've got to play Villa twice. Hannah Drury said there as well, which is really important because they're the closest team to us in terms of points. I think apart from going to the Emirates, maybe going to the Amex and Villa Park and Villa at home, I think the rest of the games are pretty winnable, in my opinion. And it's horrible to say that, isn't it? Because winnable games don't exist this season.
Have we got to play Villa away and at home? Or
yeah, we haven't played them at all.
That's weird.
We haven't played them at all. And it's strange, isn't it? Because obviously it got delayed because of the COVID outbreak at Villa. To play them in December or something like that, and they still haven't rearranged it. So I was having this conversation with my dad. How strange would it be to play Villa at home on Monday and Villa away on Saturday or something like that? Probably the first time in history it's happened. It'd be strange to have a reverse fixture in the same week, but it probably will happen.
I think they'll be the make or break fixtures. If we can get 4 points out of those 2 games against Villa, then I think we're nailed on to finish above Villa. If Villa beat us in one of those 2 games, then I think we're really looking at over our shoulder, because it was annoying how they pulled that round against Fulham yesterday. As much as I want to believe that we're going to finish above them, we've got to be getting those 4 points, as I said, because if they hadn't won yesterday, then I wouldn't be worrying about Villa. But they're still very much in the fight themselves, and I know they're missing Jack Grealish, but he's not. He's going to be back soon. And then again, they're another team that similar to us. Similar to us, they can look absolutely crap. Yeah, they can look absolutely crap one week, and then the next week they can look like they're on fire and that they're nailed on to be in and around the European places. So they're a team, again, I don't want to play. I'm not looking forward to playing West Ham away either. It's going to be a bit better now they don't have Declan Rice, but you know how much they'll be desperate to win that, because it's the same thing. If they beat us in that game, or as long as we don't beat them, then you'd fancy West Ham to finish above us, wouldn't you? So a couple of games that I'm not looking forward to, but there's a lot of games that we can win there. And I agree with what someone said in the comments there. If we can win 6 of the next 10, then I think we're guaranteed to get Europe, and we've got a very good chance of getting top 6. But if I had to put my cards on the table right now, I think we finish 7th.
Yeah, Joshua Erdley, thanks for your comment there. As Ancelotti said, if we win 6 of the 10, we'll get Europe. A couple of people in the chat there talking about City last day. And it sounds unpopular, but I feel like if, you know, City will have wrapped the league up in the next 5 or 6 games, I think. I don't think it'll go anywhere near the final day at all. They'll have wrapped it up with a few games to go. And you've got to hope, if we are going for, maybe we need a win on the last day to get Europa or something like that, or to get 6th. You know, they might throw out a couple of young players. We might be able to go there and get a point or something. We might be able to go there and fight against them, and you're laughing about it, Paul, but if they've got nothing to play for and they start playing academy players, which City can do.
Mate, their
reserves
reserves can beat us, mate, if they go out to win. We've just seen that in the cup game. They've got a second team that's better than almost every other team in the league. So you can't be going to City, and you can always hope, can't you? Surprises always happen, but it doesn't matter what team City put out. I would never ever go to the Etihad and be expecting us to get anything, no matter how many first teamers they rest. That's just reality. It's sad.
It's worth mentioning, though, it's Aguero's last game as well, so we're 3-0 down before the game's even started, as far as I'm concerned. Going there, because he's definitely going to start, be captain, bag at least a hat-trick. So, yeah, I think that could be a bit of a write-off.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think there is plenty of games that we're able to win before between now and the end of the season, but we have to win this one today. If we don't win this one today, I think we'll just have to be content with wherever we do finish, because there's the competitiveness will fall out of it, really. According to John there in the chat, Ancelotti said that little problems keep Alan and Iwobi out tonight, not meant to be serious. So it does look like it's a couple of knocks like that. Joshua Erdley says 5th and 6th is Europa League, and then 7th Europa League Conference, but that depends on who wins the FA Cup and the League Cup. I don't know how it works. I've always been one of them. It's like I've always been bad with it, working it out. I've always just thought, let's just finish whatever and see what happens.
7th gets Europa Conference League, the new competition, if a team in the top 6 wins the League Cup and the FA Cup. So let's say City win the League Cup against Tottenham in the final.
You're going to win both, aren't you?
Yeah, if it plays out the way we all expect it to, where City win both of them, then 7th will get the League Cup. Yes, the only thing we need to really worry about is if Tottenham and Mourinho pull a rabbit out the ass and somehow snatch that cup final. If that happens, then I don't think we're going to be getting any European football unless you finish in the top 5. So, I think we're going to get 7th and end up in that Conference League. Now, I've been talking to people about this on here and on Twitter over the past few weeks. How much stock would you really put in that? But I think that's what we're going to have to make do with. If we can get up higher than that and get in the Conference League, getting the Europa League proper, then that would be even better. But I think just any European football at all this season, you'd have to class it as a success. That's what we wanted in the summer when we first began. Just get back in Europe. And if we can get back in Europe by hook or by crook, then I think it's a result.
And you've got to remember as well that it's Ancelotti's first season, and we will strengthen in the summer and hope to push past that in next season, whatever that ends up being. But you seem a bit more clued up on it than me, Paul. I don't know how much you know about it, James, but I know absolutely nothing about it. What sort of competition is it? Follow the same format as the Europa League, from what you know? What sort of teams are going to be in it, and what are the rewards for it? Because I don't have a clue what it is.
I'm pretty much the same boat. I remember them talking about it a couple of years ago, but it just really snuck up on me. I didn't realise until it was probably on one of these only a few weeks ago that I realised it was starting this coming summer. So yeah, I'm not too clued up on myself. It's the kind of thing that you'd like come across 4 or 5 seasons into a footy manager save, and I'd start seeing teams qualifying for this competition. I have no idea what it is, but yeah, I'm not too sure. I've heard people use it in the same breath as the Intertoto Cup, which worries me a little bit, but yeah, I can't say I'm ridiculously clued up on it either. I think you kind of have to see how it plays out, really.
You got to remember as well, we were actually we played in the first season of the new Europa League, didn't we? Because it was under Moyes when it was the UEFA Cup, and then the first season when it was the Europa League when we had AK Athens and teams like that in it as well. So no, let's. I don't even know what it is. Joshua Eardley says Europa League conference winner gets Europa League. Whoever finishes third in the Europa League goes down to the Europa Conference League knockout. So it's the Champions League, basically, but a lower version of it.
It's going to be the same format as the other two. There's going to be a group stage where the top 2 go through. The big difference is the Europa League's getting cut down. There won't be, I think there's 64 teams that go in the Europa League group stages, and then obviously 2 go through, don't they? And there's a round of 32 in the Europa League. That won't be now. When you finish the group stages in the Europa League, there'll be 16 teams, so there'll be a round of 16. They're cutting the rounds out, and there'll be the same in the Europa Conference League. There'll be 2 teams that go through, and you'll be a round of 16, and then ultimately whoever wins the Europa Conference League will automatically qualify for the Europa League next season, the same way whoever wins the Europa League automatically qualifies for the Champions League. And that's what I was talking about when I was saying, would fans really be bothered, or would it just be a Europa Conference League? Because you would be playing some absolute trash. If you think the Europa League's got some absolutely diabolical teams in it from stupid countries, then it's going to be like that, even worse in the Europa Conference League.
You're basically playing for the trophy and the away days. That's it.
Yeah,
because it's slow progress. Who wants to play in a competition to get in the Europa League? I can't. It's like it'd be just like playing loads of qualifying rounds, wouldn't it? It'd just be so you're literally playing to get a bit of silverware and the away days.
Essentially, mate. Yeah, I get what people are coming from when they say, yeah, it's just going to be some stupid Intertoto Cup. Who cares? Play the reserves. Why would you be bothered about playing some team that finished third in the Lithuanian league? But
don't get me wrong, I wouldn't play the reserves, innit? I'd be playing the first team in it if we're in it.
No, yeah, but flip it round. Football's all about going out with your mates, isn't it, and having memories. Would you rather? I know you're going to play crap teams, but if we got drawn against some team, I don't know, in Czech Republic, against a team who you're absolutely sure even our B team could beat, would you be going over there? Of course you, for 20p pints, of course you would, and have a day out, wouldn't you? And it's a chance to blood youngsters, and even our best night in our history, you know, when we won the Cup Winners' Cup, you've got to remember that we played some pretty crap teams in the early rounds of that. We played the University of Dublin.
UCD and that, yeah.
Yeah, the University of Dublin. No one remembers that now. Everyone just remembers that we won the competition, didn't we? And we lifted the trophy in Rotterdam. So, I think
that's it. That's it. It's a chance for us to go out and get a bit of silverware and maybe go on a couple of boss away days like Lille. You know, that we went. Lille was amazing and stuff like that. So it'd be the chance to get more like that and get a trophy in the cabinet and stuff like that.
UEFA Cup in the 70s and 80s was the third tier competition behind the Cup Winners' Cup and the European Cup. But some big teams won that, you know. Shankly and Bell Paisley for Liverpool both won the UEFA Cup, where it was not the biggest trophy going. And no one laughed at them when they were in it. Everyone was happy that they won it. It's considered one of the best memories in Liverpool's history, wasn't it? First European trophy they won. Real Madrid won the UEFA Cup in that year in 84-85, and we won the Cup Winners' Cup, and Juventus beat Liverpool, Heysel. The UEFA Cup winners that season in the third competition were Real Madrid. No one laughed at that. So I think it's something to be positive about. I really do.
If you get in it, I'd be looking at it as more of it'd be similar to the FA Cup, wouldn't it? People sort of play the Europa League at the hope of thinking maybe we can go far in it. And if, you know, you might not win it because there's a lot of really good teams in the Europa League. But for the bigger teams, it's like, okay, let's get in the Champions League. So for someone like, I don't know, maybe Sevilla or something like that, they always relied on, let's win the Europa League and get in the Champions League. That was always their thing, because they thought, well, we might struggle to get in it through the to get it through the league. So you're not going to be. We're not going to be playing the Europa Conference League in the hope of getting in the Europa League next season. I'd rather just get in the Europa League next season. But it's going to be the chance to, as Paul said there, make some memories. And Toffee Blues John has just absolutely hit the nail on the head there. I'll leave it on the screen for the rest of the stream. Get us in that Europa Conference League and get us on that plane to Albania for the just brilliant. A Toffee Blues trip away to Albania for the Europa Conference League against some random team would be brilliant. Like,
I want to see what the trophy looks like, because it hasn't been unveiled yet, and I think how nice or ugly a trophy looks can kind of make or break a competition, because I think when we won the
when we won the league in '85, they just changed it to the cannon one, and it was crap.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take away from what an achievement that was, but yeah, you'd much rather the trophy. You'd much rather it was Howard Kendall holding up the Premier League trophy, wouldn't you? And the old Cup Winners' Cup wasn't really an impressive looking thing, was it? It looked like something that you win on like a school sports day or something. Whereas the UEFA Cup, the Europa League, that trophy, I think that's an absolutely gorgeous cup. I'd love to see us have that in the cabinet.
I've never been a fan of a trophy with no handles on. I can never get on board with that. But when you look at the Champions League trophy, you just know that is epic, don't you? You look at it and it's like that's the sort of yeah, that's what you want. It's like
that's what footballers are in the game to try and win, isn't it? And it will be really important for this trophy if they bring it out on the stage. I imagine they'll unveil it when they first do the draw for it in the summer. They bring that out and they unveil it, and it's this ugly looking thing, and everyone just thinks, oh, whatever. Like, if we're going to play in this, then all right. Whereas if it looks absolutely gorgeous and the design's really good, you look at it and you go, oh yes, let's get that in our cabinet. Do you know what I mean?
I've always thought the old First Division one, which is now the Championship one, is lovely. The one with like the sort of like the fluorescent handles on it that sort of wave in all directions. Basically, the old First Division trophy that's now the Championship one. I really like that one.
Yeah, it went back to that, didn't it? In '87. That's the trophy we won in that year, and that's obviously the trophy we won with Harry Catterick. But it goes back to what I said.
Yeah.
The way a trophy looks, I think, can really play a part in people's minds about how good a memory it is if you win it. Because as much as that 84-85 is our best of the season, that was the one year where the trophy just wasn't very good to look at on photos. Yeah, trophy's not good to look at on photos.
You can imagine. You can just imagine Everton going to the final of the Europa Conference League and winning it on penalties, and they bring out them plastic medals from B&M or something, and it's been an absolute joke. But we've got a couple of minutes. Just some thoughts on Crystal Palace before the teams come out, lads. James, come to you first. Just your thoughts on them, because they're 12th in the league. They've won and drawn 7 and lost 12. They got 37 points. They're not going to get relegated. There is a bit of a gap between them and Arsenal in 10th. So the sort of, if there was any team that's sort of in a void of nothingness, I'd say they're the one, really. They're 5 points off the top half, but they're also a bit of a gap between them and relegated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't tend to watch too much past. They are, I know we're boring, but I've got to watch us, but they are pretty boring. They're a bit horrible, aren't they? Because they've had some awful results, like Burnley a lot beating them at home, for example, but then they pull out like the game at Brighton where they got battered for 95 minutes and they somehow won. So yeah, they can be a bit tricky, but I think we're unbeaten in 12 against them all. I think it was I seen this morning. So really, we just got to be the team who are fighting for something. We're really trying to obviously get into Europe, and as you said, they're just in a void of not doing anything. So really, it's a game we should win, and they are very beatable. A couple of good players like Zaha and Eze who worry me a little bit, but yeah, we should definitely be beating these now.
I don't think Roy will be there next season.
Yeah, he'll go in the summer, I think.
No, but
what you just said, mate, like I think they've got one of the best boards in the league. Just they seem to plan everything perfectly. They don't seem to panic too much, at least not the last few years. They're just a template example of what you do when you come up from the Championship. of how to run the club as a business really, really well. Just get into mid-table, focus on staying in mid-table, bank the money every year. Just maybe move 1 or 2 players on and bring 1 or 2 players in who are similar level. And your one star player that you've got, get them locked down for as long as you can in Saha. They're just they're a really, really well-run club. And they're a club I've got nothing against. I think they're one of those teams where if they ever dropped out of the league again, I'd probably be sad to see them go, because it's always a good away day down there normally. And they are the type of team that they come up with good results, don't they? Like, you'd always get like a bit of there's about 10 epic games a season, isn't there, across all teams? And Palace are always involved. If at the end of every season, if you were to run down the 10 best games of that season involving all teams, Palace would normally be in there. You guarantee they'll be in there. Just to mention that.
Yeah, and just before we finish and up the toffees, team's just coming out. Throw Sky on now, because Crystal Palace have got the nicest warm-up jacket I've ever seen. It's unbelievable. It's caught me off guard how nice it is. But Palace's warm-up jacket that goes with their away kit, unbelievable. Bloody hell!
Have they got the?
Yeah, it's really good. Anyway,
Falcon flying around.
What?
Have they got that Falcon, the mascot, flying around?
Oh, yeah, they brought him up. He's an essential worker. Anyway, thanks for watching the stream, guys. Go check out the Babbling Blues if you want to see more of James. Basically give the stream a like. Make sure you're sharing it around. Make sure you subscribe as well if you haven't already. Up the toffees. Let's get 3 points. And thanks very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.